New hit music, way fewer commercials, 103.3 Amp Radio. She came to hang with the peasants, Chantel Jeffries. What's up,
Oh my gosh.
girl?
Hi, how are you?
Well, I looked at your IG stories yesterday. You went from the box to, like, in the dugout. Who was the plug?
Oh, I went with, well, apparently the guys that own the club are partners with the people there, but one of my really good friends took me, so.
Did you have fun? Was that your first time
Yeah.
at Fenway?
It wasn't my first time. I actually used to live here. My family's from here, so I went when I was younger, yeah.
What part?
Well, my mom's from East Boston. They live, like, all over now, kind of spread out, but.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, do they still live out here?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So did you get some time to, like, visit them?
No, it was a really short trip, so
Yeah.
I didn't this time, but I usually do when I'm in town, so.
Obviously, they've come to see what you do and stuff like that. They didn't want to come out to Encore last night? They didn't want to turn up?
Well, I just was in and out, so I didn't. They kind of live farther now. They live like 45 minutes, an hour away, so it was just like, didn't really work out this time. But usually they come down, we have dinner, and do the whole thing, so it's really fun.
So what are some of your favorite things to do out here then? Because obviously this is like a hometown visit almost.
I really love going to Newberry Street. I love walking around because it's just so pretty down there and stuff like that. So I love like catching any sporting events or activities that are going on. Last time I came, I went to Celtics game, so it was really fun.
Dang,
Yeah.
you're catching like the full-on vibes out here.
Yeah.
And you're probably happy that you came during the summer too instead of like the winter.
Yeah. Because last time it was very, very cold, but the weather was perfect this time, so it was amazing.
And you're always out in Vegas and California. I didn't even own a jacket before I came out here, so like I totally get it. Let's talk about the single "Chase of Summer" with Jeremiah. Obviously,
Yeah.
like it's a fun vibe sounding record. Is that kind of like your sound, the direction you are going musically and sonically and stuff?
Yeah, I think that's just kind of best representation of my personality and like what I like to do. I love to travel, I love to have fun, I love summer, so it kind of just goes with my whole vibe. But yeah.
And what are some because obviously you said you travel a lot. What are some travel tips? Because I always try to tell people to get out, travel, see. I mean, travel to Europe, but we're so close over here.
Yeah.
So what are like some travel tips, some travel pet peeves that get on your nerves? Because I know you're TSA pre-check. I know you probably have global entry. Like, give me some like travel.
I mean, I totally understand. It comes with time to like know all the tips and tricks and like be efficient when you're traveling and kind of like get everything down packed. So like I totally get it. When my mom's like one of those people that's like at the airport 4 hours before her flight and like, you know, like packed and ready to go 2 days before. So I kind of like, I always bring a carry-on. That's my number one thing. Like, unless I'm going on a really, really long trip, I'll bring a carry-on for like a week or less. So that's like my number one thing because it makes everything more efficient. You're in and out. You don't have to wait to check a bag and you don't have to wait for your bag to come out. Also, like sometimes your bag gets lost and things like that. So it's like that's probably my number one tip and trick of traveling. And then just staying really hydrated because you get so dehydrated on the plane and like.
Isn't it crazy people don't know that?
Well, your body's not in homeostasis, so like it holds on to all the water and you get bloated, but then like at the same time you're dehydrated, which is really crazy. But yeah, that's probably the number one thing for me. And I always sleep on the plane, so I hate when people. It's like everyone will have their windows closed, and there's the one person that opens their window, and you're just like, "We're trying to sleep, like stop it."
You don't got like an eye mask or anything?
Well, I always bring an eye mask, but it's just like. If everyone has their windows closed, you keep your window closed. It is what it is. It's just plane etiquette. I should write a book on plane etiquette.
You should, absolutely. I mean, you're traveling. What was the last place you went to that people have to go to? It could be a country. It could be a specific city. Like, put somebody on game right now.
Wow, there's so many places. It depends if your vibe's more of like tropical or like activities.
I just want to get away. I want to be able to. I want to have some good scenery. I want to have some good food. And maybe some place that people really necessarily wouldn't trigger as like a destination.
Well, one of my favorite kind of like tropical spots is St. Bart's, just because it's French. It's like such a European feel and it's close. So like instead of going, I mean, it's a little hard to get to just because you can't fly directly into there because the airport is so small. The runway can't take like larger planes, but it's like feels like you're in Europe, but without having to go so far. So that's why I like it a lot. And the food's amazing. Wow, it's just an amazing view. Like the water, it's unreal how it looks. So there's a really great, like club scene there and stuff like that. So that's one of my favorite places to visit for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The record with Jeremiah, talk about how that kind of came about. Like, did you see him while you were DJing and you were like, hey, we should get on record together? Have you known him for a long time? Because he's a studio rat. I know that. Like, he loves being in the studio.
Well, I actually had the song prepared before, and with writing it and the demo, it just kind of had that similar vibe of his voice. So I was like, wow, he would sound great on this. It's kind of already his type of music as far as like the vocals and stuff like that. So I reached out to him and he really liked it. So then we just ended up cutting it and that was it.
And when you're DJing, it's different when you're playing music for people and then you get to actually throw on your singles. Talk about like the first moment you saw somebody kind of like saying the lyrics to one of your records, because you've been doing it for a second. You've had a couple records out before this one. So what was like the first time you like saw someone turn up to one of your records? What did that feel like to you?
Well, I mean, the people at the clubs, they really enjoy it, and I really am excited when I play it, so that kind of like comes off of, like kind of resonate with other people when you're really excited about something. But I always think it's really cool when they hold up their phone and they're like, play both sides or play this song or play that song, like, and they'll be like requesting something I wasn't originally gonna play, and that feels really cool too.
Yeah, it's dope. And you're super into your YouTube. I mean, you really like tackle all these different areas, and you've been vlogging for a very long time, right?
Yeah. Well, not like super long, but a couple of years, yeah.
And what have you learned from the time you started to like now, as far as what kind of like content works? Like, explain to people who are just maybe trying to get into that.
Well, I think just being authentic is really important. And then just for me, it's like being informational, because people like to know certain things about your life that they might not see in other places online. So they just like to know like your morning routines or your travel routines, or like it's like people go on YouTube to learn a lot of things and to be entertained. But like, I know I personally go on to like find out tips and tricks about anything, or like get more insight into like any different, whatever it is, like any subject. So I try to be like informational with my stuff and like just show my personality. And then it's a great way to connect with your fans because you can get instant feedback. And so it's great with music because you can tease your songs and like people can comment and write about it, and it gets them excited about it too. So it's a really useful tool.
Sure, no doubt. And where do you want to take this thing musically? Like, what is your end goal? Like, what are some of Chantel Jeffries' like end results? What do you want to see?
Well, I never like to be too attached to end goals because you never know what can happen in life, and I always feel like anytime I made a goal that I really wanted to accomplish, or if I was too attached to something, and like I would have never got to where I was because like I would have been too focused and like not seeing the great opportunities in my peripherals if I was like, oh, I need to do this. So I always have like a general idea of the direction I'm going, but I never get too attached on like a specific outcome because I'm just like, oh, you never know. It's like life. You want to be flexible. So
we're halfway through the year now, which is absolutely crazy. What were some of the goals you set for yourself at the beginning of the year?
Well, my number one goal is to be more organized, and I still haven't fully accomplished that, but I'm getting better.
So are you like typically someone who doesn't like to write things down? Like, you just kind of go with the flow, maybe send some reminders in your phone or set some reminders in your phone? Like, what do you mean by more organized?
I just feel like I'm always on the fly and like running around doing things, and so I don't always plan things super far in advance, and I don't like, I honestly kind of don't like to get nervous because I'm like, oh, well, like I don't know what's going to happen here or there or what, like, so I was trying to kind of give myself more of an organized schedule and just in general being organized, which I've been working on that. So it's been getting better. But
do your friends think you're like a flake or something?
No, and honestly, people probably do think I'm organized compared to a lot of my friends. They do, but like I always look at people that are so put together and so organized all the time. I'm like, I wonder what it'd be like to be like that, because I'm kind of just like, oh, well, whatever.
Just go with the flow. I mean, you're all over the place. Yeah. You're like traveling. I can understand where like things get lost in translation. Yeah. No, I got you. All right, Chase the Summer. Y'all go ahead and check that out. Are you thinking like album? Who else do you want to work with?
Well,
because you're in Vegas, which if a lot of people, believe it or not, have not been to Vegas, which I can completely understand. It's a dangerous place to find yourself sometimes. Who are some of the people that maybe have come in the club and be like, hey, we're interested in working? Well,
it just mostly depends on the music I'm working on at the time, because there's so many people that are my favorite artists that I love, but like at the moment they don't necessarily fit with the sound that I'm doing. But I never know. what could happen. So when I go in and work on a record and then write a record, I kind of like get an idea of who I'd want on it based on how it comes out. So I don't have like a specific, like, I'm not making music for a specific person to feature. I'm kind of just like making the music that I like and seeing who would fit with it. If that makes sense.
I got you. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you're in Vegas all the time. Where are some of the spots that people can catch you at?
I do Hakkasan venues, so I'm at Jewel nightclub, I'm at Omnia and Heart of Omnia, and Wet Republic.
All over. And
yes.
Man, I can't believe you DJ in that heat in the summer, bro. That's crazy.
It's not too bad because there's AC in the DJ booth, but I'm always like, wow. Sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, it's so hot that
so hot.
People are like having the best time. They're in the pool, they're like drinking, whatever. But I can't imagine, because when I'm drinking in the heat, I know that like I'm spent for like the whole night. I can't do anything. I'm so tired after that. So I'm just like, wow, these people, they got a lot of stamina.
They're insane. They're running on adrenaline. They have a lot of them have no idea. And you said that you were done because you DJ'd Encore last night, and you were like, listen, I'm done gambling on this trip. Like, it's not gonna happen. What's your game?
Well, I like roulette is my favorite.
How do people like roulette?
Because I'm very like,
to me.
I kind of feel like I'm psychic, so I'm like, oh, I know. Like, I'll know what numbers are gonna hit. So like sometimes it's like,
dude.
Once I start playing, then it's like in the beginning I'll be like, okay, I know what numbers are gonna hit. But then I start playing the game, like instead of just going off of my feeling of what the number is, then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna play some, tiles, like have a strategy, which then it starts going out the window. But like if I just sit down and I'm like, I'll hit like one or two numbers, like I'll kind of know, and then I end up like getting
What's the most amount of
in.
money you've ever won on roulette?
I've won like 8,000-10,000 before. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. How much have you lost?
Not that much. Like probably like 1,000 at the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know when to walk away too?
Yeah, I'm very much like, oh, well, I won. Okay, I'm walking away. Like I don't really get like sucked in too much with it.
It's fun though to like roll the dice and people are going insane around you, but then it could turn.
I usually just
quick.
go sit by myself at a little table, but
You go to the roulette table by yourself?
Yes, I like to like concentrate, or else I can't like get in touch with my intuition.
That's savage in one way to look at it. So are you like into psychics too? Like, is that?
I mean, I just feel like I'm really intuitive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got you. Well, Chantel Jeffries, appreciate you coming through. Everybody knows where to find you. You have like a bajillion Instagram followers and all that stuff. Get the single, stream it, do what you got to do, and catch her in a town near you. Samp Radio.